a global model of democratic governments has devolved in a troubling narrative of institutional erosion and democratic backsliding. Comrades, as I said, this list can be longer than that, but we don't have enough time at disposal. But I know that all of you know yourself what and which countries I'm referring to, because you all have witnessed, in one way or the other, forms of injustice in your country, and if it was not in your country, it was in the neighboring country, and if it was not the neighboring country, it was in the region of where you stay in this world. The perpetrators of injustice in our systems are nowadays aligned, and they cooperate with each other. They speak the same language, and it was very eloquently said by the leader of the opposition, Rahul Gandhi, of hate and discrimination. We must dismantle the fear of the other and replace it with a narrative of unity, dignity, and shared progress. For all these reasons, it is of utmost importance that we all mobilize as progressive forces in unity around the world. We need to reinvigorate the global progressive movement, one that is driven by the belief that a better world is possible. For us to succeed, it is essential to deepen our links with all players like-minded around the world. And together we can build a common narrative and have a common voice to face this fragmented world that lies ahead. Yesterday was the 80th anniversary of the liberation of my country, of Italy, from the Nazi fascist occupation. We must never forget the sacrifice of the lives of the resistance movements in a country like Italy. There, and afterwards, are possible. There are forces in this world that are trying to push us to forget that sacrifice or to minimize it. We shall never allow this to happen. And the best way to do it is to unite ourselves under the leadership of leaders like Rahul Gandhi and all the leaders of our parties to make our voice heard in every region of the world. Bella ciao.
Thank you so much. Giacomo Filibeck, ladies and gentlemen. Mr. Giacomo Filibeck is the Secretary General, Party of European Socialists. And yes, moving forward to our next distinguished international leaders here on stage, I request all of you to kindly please limit your speech to 2 minutes maximum because we are running short on time. I now request, yes, Mr. Bert Koenders to please step forward. Mr. Bert Koenders, former Foreign Minister, to address the gathering. Yes, I now request Mr. Bert Koenders, former Foreign Minister, to please address the gathering. And I also request you, sir, to please limit your speech to maximum 2 minutes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Mr. Gandhi, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. It's a great honor for me, representing here today the Dutch Labour Party, to be with you here in a very historic meeting. This is, I think, almost 80 years after the importance of this country and later on the Bandung conference. And we have been inspired, I think, at the time by the leaders of the past, of thinking about how we could build an order in the world that was more equitable and just. And I think the Bandung conference has to give our an inspiration, not only for new politics in our countries, I think it's extremely important, but also about a new arrangement in our world, which is polarized, which is characterized by disrespect, by unilateralism. I'm limiting myself to 2 minutes, so let me give one plea. It is very urgent in a time of beggar thy neighbor policies, of unilateralism, of inward-lookingness, that together the spirit of Bandung is coming back, inspired by your party, as a force for the Progressive Alliance to work on a new deal between the South and the North. India can be in the lead, Europe can be in the lead. We need a real deal for respectful multilateralism, not only in terms of justice and human rights. I think it's absolutely key. It was just mentioned. Thank you very much. We're in a time of repression, of respect of human rights. Never have been so many people and journalists being killed around the world. But it's also about an equitable economic order. And I think in that respect, the big announcement we're going and have made today on a new beginning for international justice should lead to concrete action. And thank you very much, all of you, in this great city of Hyderabad, to create a new Bandung. A Bandung worldwide with respect for each other, respect for human rights and international justice. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir, and appreciate it for keeping it short. I now request Ms. Monica Fain, President Socialist, to please step forward and address the gathering.
Buenas tardes. Gracias al Gobierno de Telangana, gracias a la Alianza Progresista, señor líder de la oposición Rahul Gandhi. Vengo como presidenta del Partido Socialista de Argentina a expresar que la extrema derecha amenaza nuestras democracias, que la extrema derecha arrasa nuestra libertad e impulsa guerras para tomar hegemonía comercial en el mundo. La extrema derecha desprecia nuestras instituciones y genera violencia y odio. Ante esa realidad de la extrema derecha estamos aquí, los progresistas del mundo, diciendo que necesitamos una nueva democracia, gobiernos globales que transformen la realidad, poniendo a la ciudadanía y a las personas como eje del desarrollo de un país. Argentina no tiene que contarlo, es el laboratorio de la extrema derecha, donde se produce el brutal ajuste de la economía, la destrucción de la ciencia, de la educación, de la salud y la reivindicación de la violencia de la última dictadura militar. Nosotros en Argentina vivimos el accionar de la extrema y de la ultraderecha. Por eso venimos a este lugar y agradecemos este encuentro para decir que necesitamos una voz progresista más fuerte que le diga al mundo que podemos construir una sociedad con igualdad, con solidaridad, con justicia para todos y para todas, donde las mujeres, las disidencias, los campesinos, las campesinas, todas aquellas que queremos tener una vida digna, lo podamos construir. Esa es la voz del progresismo, es la voz que venimos a llevarnos de este Congreso. Gracias por la recepción.
Thank you so much, ma'am. I now request Mr. Jiom Long to please step forward. Yes, Mr. Jiom Long, former Foreign Minister, Ecuador, to please step forward and address the gathering.
Thank you very much. I'd like to thank the government of Telangana for its very generous invitation, thank the Congress Party for hosting us, and thank the Progressive International. Thank you, Varsha, for bringing such a great delegation of 12 countries. It's a real honor for us to be here. And of course, I'd like to express my heartfelt condolences to the people of India, my sincere solidarity for the terrible, tragic attack that occurred this week in Kashmir. This is 70 years since the Bandung conference, this week. And in the very little time I have, I would like to ask the following question. How is India going to position itself, and more importantly, how is the Congress Party going to go forward in terms of its vision for internationalism? What is its foreign policy doctrine going to be? We've heard here that we're facing a unique historical moment. We're facing the onslaught of exceptionalism, what I would call a reactionary international, which of course we have to contest, we have to fight through a progressive internationalism. This requires collective action against divide and rule, against the race to the bottom, which is often privileged by this emphasis on bilateralism, the bilateralism of the deal, whether it's an artful deal or not an artful deal. The bilateralism in order to maintain a symmetry, often between global north powers or superpowers and global south countries. A progressive project must have an international project at its core. And this is a crucial element because in this conference here and this morning, we've heard many wonderful policy initiatives. This morning we were in there was a great workshop on how new laws for gig workers have been introduced, first in Rajasthan, then in Karnataka, and now very soon in Telangana, and we celebrate this, and there are all sorts of fantastic domestic policies that have been proposed here. What about international policy? What is the internationalist project of the Congress Party going to be? Is it going to be the legacy of this wonderful picture of the Bandung conference 70 years ago this week with Nehru and Nkrumah, Nasser, Sukarno and Tito? Or is it going to be an India that is just used as a bulwark of the West against China? Is it going to be an India of bilateralism? Or is it going to be an India of multilateralism, of collective action? An anchor in the global South to fight some of the great abuses of the current system of international governance we are often victim to. The Indian National Congress is heir to the historic legacy of Bandung. In Latin America and in the global South, it is this legacy from this party we most admire. It is this legacy from this party that I teach my students. What is it going to be? A Congress party from the global South? A Congress party seeking to harness collective action? A Congress party going back to its non-aligned roots? We heartily hope so in Latin America and the global South, and we encourage you all to follow this path. We need a genuine, not a vacuous, not a tokenistic commitment to the struggle for the democratization of the international system that serves the needs, the interests, the rights of the world's majority. The Congress Party is called to play this role. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir. I now request Ms. Clara Lopez Obregon, Senator and former Labor Minister, Colombia, to please step forward and address the gathering.
Colleagues from the progressive forces of the world over, Mr. Rahul Gandhi, your words with that meaningful lesson of replacing or confronting the new politics of hate with the politics of love is the right way forward. In Colombia, our president, Gustavo Petro, too, has the politics of love and has life at the center of all his preoccupations. In the spirit of Bandung and as members of the Global South, we must once more decide not to be for or against any great power, but rather in favor of world peace, democratic values, human rights, global justice, and equitable development. May the Bharat Summit signify the unity of all progressive forces with the common goal of social justice in a world that once more faces the East-West divide and the challenges of intolerance, terrorism, and genocide, which we wholeheartedly condemn and express our solidarity for the happenings recently that have affected India and the world over. Let us lead the way and walk together, respecting our differences and sharing our strengths for the common good. Telangana has given us great examples, and thank you for your generous hospitality. Thank you all.
Thank you so much, ma'am. I now request Mr. Jorge Tayana, former Foreign Minister, Argentina, to please step forward and address the gathering.
Thank you to the authorities of Telangana. Thank you, Rahul Gandhi, to be here for your address and for support this initiative, and to all the people that are here. Of course, we support and we are very sorry for the other day. I invoke the Bandung spirit because it's very, in a sense, embody peace, non-violence, non-discrimination, and a commitment to development rooted in respecting each nation's sovereignty. We stand before a world in transition, where the relationship between nation states is being fundamentally changed. The tension stems from their gradual erosion driven by technological revolution and compounded by productive, financial, communicative, and cultural globalization. A world that demands coordinated global efforts to address its greatest challenges, from the climate crisis to persistent poverty and worsening inequality. Today, concentration of power and wealth explain disparities within countries and between nations. Argentina, my country, now suffers a regression across economic, social, and democratic spheres, manifesting the current administration policy agenda. The trajectory fundamentally contradicts the prerequisite for equitable development, demonstrating how right-wing ascendancy foreclosed pathway to justice. Consider the case of Dr. Cristina Fernández de Kirchner, former two-term president and current chair of the Socialist party, a party with 3 million affiliates in our country, who faced politically motivated legal harassment. The narrow aim is her electoral disqualification. The wider goal is to discredit all the opposition. Such tactics seek to intimidate a leader who dares to defend Argentine people's welfare. And this is a clear message. Our problem is not only the authoritarian presidents that go with the far right, also a corrupted judiciary that not work with the point view of the justice legislation. Judiciary branch is a serious problem in our country. This geopolitical tensions and uneven development necessitates immediate action against inequality through three structural approaches: active non-alignment as a guiding doctrine, deeper regional integration, and institutionalized global South collaboration. On the final point, we must reaffirm Argentine legitimate and unalienable sovereignty over the Malvinas, South Georgia, and Sandwich Islands and their surrounding maritime territories, integral part of our national territory. The UN General Assembly Resolution 2665 explicitly recognizes the sovereignty dispute and calls upon Argentina and the United Kingdom to seek a peaceful, lasting solution. Yet the UK not only disregards this resolution, but exploits both renewable and non-renewable natural resources in the dispute sector in the South Atlantic. In times of instability, advancing global justice in all its dimensions is an imperative for all who believes must serve the welfare of our people. Let me conclude with late Pope Francis' words. I was close to him, and my family used to tell that we are friends. He's now been buried in the Santa Maria Maggiore Church in a humble coffin. He reminds us that the people is not achieve peace is not achieved merely by ending wars, but by building a new world, one where we discover ourselves as different, yet more united and bound in fellowship than ever we imagined. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir. And yes, since Shri Rahul Gandhi ji has a hectic schedule ahead, I request all our distinguished international leaders to please limit your speech to just 1.5 minutes. We move forward to our next speaker. I request Mr. Cedric Wermuth, Swiss Party President, to please step forward and address the gathering.
Thank you. I'm a father of two young children, two young girls, and some years ago the older one came to me and said, "Hey Dad, how was that when human beings and dinosaurs were together on the planet? Did they like each other or did they fight?" And I tried to explain to her that dinosaurs had died before the human race came to Earth, and that nobody, no human is old enough to have ever seen actual living dinosaurs changed. And although there are the politics of an age that has gone long before us. And I think it's extremely important that we are precise on pointing on what's happening on the global stage these days and weeks and years. Yes, it has become fashionable in Western Europe to analyze the situation through the idea of the new polycrisis of neoliberalism. The truth is the crisis has always been there, but for the global South. The global North has just not seen it and has exported its problems to the global South. This time, the crisis is coming back. And it is coming back under the disguise of these very dangerous clowns, which Mr. Trump is the most dangerous probably for world politics. And I'd like to be very precise. I'm still on the 30. I have the right to be a bit more outspoken than other ones in this room. I think we have to be very precise. There is a new coalition of a neo-fascist project and of class war by global billionaires who try to exploit nature and human beings even more than before, or as the ITUT points it out, a coup against democracy and everything we have been fighting for in the last 50 or 70 years. And there are two things I want to stress for the progressive movement. First of all, I think we should have been that who questioned the neoliberal global order. And we didn't. So it is high time to do it now, because we cannot become the bearers and the defenders of the status quo. We must be the ones who go further for dignity, liberty, truth, justice and equality for everyone. And I think also on this point, it is time for Europe, for the global north, for Switzerland, my country, to learn from the global south and to learn from what the leader of the INC just said, Rahul Gandhi, to turn to that politics of listening to people. So maybe we could start with a progressive international, progressive alliance, this global, not only Indian, but global yatra would be a little bit more, like 40,000 kilometers, but 4,000 kilometers, but listening to the people of the world and taking up that struggle for more justice and trying to create a real common political ground that has dignity and love in its core. We are ready to do it. The world has only us to defend it. Please be with us. Go to action. We need global progressive politics. Thank you everyone for doing that every day.
Thank you so much. We move forward. I now request Mr. Martin Ziguele, former Prime Minister, Central African Republic, to please step forward and address the gathering.
Merci, je serai très rapide, je parle en français. Je suis Martin Ziguele, je suis ancien Premier ministre de la République centrafricaine. La République centrafricaine est vraiment au cœur de l'Afrique. La même distance entre le Cap en Afrique du Sud jusqu'au canal de Suez en Égypte, juste au milieu, c'est mon pays. Nous sommes entourés par la République démocratique du Congo au sud, le Cameroun à l'ouest, les deux Soudans à l'est et le Tchad au nord. Nous sommes donc au cœur de l'Afrique et aujourd'hui nous sommes ici pour dire que nous faisons partie du monde. Et l'Afrique, je ne veux pas vous refaire l'histoire, a vécu le poids de l'injustice. L'injustice sur le plan historique, l'injustice sur le plan de l'économie. Et ceux qui sont de ma génération se rappellent que grâce à l'Inde, grâce à Bandung, à la conférence de Bandung, à la conférence des non-alliés, où celui qui représentait l'Afrique, c'était Gamal Abdel Nasser, nous avons été donc vaccinés par le vaccin de la lutte pour la liberté et pour la justice. Mais il faut se souvenir que la lutte pour la liberté et la justice est une quête perpétuelle, elle n'est jamais achevée. C'est en Afrique aujourd'hui que nous avons encore des pays où il y a des coups d'État militaires. Il y a seulement 2 ans, 4 pays dont nos camarades étaient les dirigeants, présidents démocratiquement élus, ont été successivement renversés par des coups d'État militaires. Cela s'est passé en Guinée, au Mali, au Niger et au Burkina Faso. Et aujourd'hui, un de nos camarades progressistes a été renversé en juin 2023 et au moment où je vous parle, il est détenu avec son épouse sous-sol de la propre présidence où il était président de la République. C'est au Niger et c'est notre camarade Mohamed Bazoum. Donc en Afrique, nous vivons l'injustice, nous avons besoin de solidarité, pas pour venir se substituer à nous, mais comme disait notre camarade Rahul Gandhi, il faut nous écouter, même si on ne nous aime pas, mais il faut au moins nous écouter pour nous soutenir dans cette lutte que nous menons. Je vous remercie.
Merci. And yes, ladies and gentlemen, we now move forward to launching, the Hyderabad resolution. We have the documents in hand. Our dignitaries present here on stage have it all in their hands. So I request you to kindly please rise and hold it in your hand as the photographers, the videographers will capture this wonderful moment, ladies and gentlemen, as we formally launch Hyderabad resolution. I request all our dignitaries to please step forward with the document in hand. I request all our friends from press media to please step forward and capture this wonderful moment, the powerful formal launch of Hyderabad resolution. Yes, my dear friends, I request you to please be seated as we have our other distinguished international leaders still to talk to us. I now request His Excellency Hipólito Mejia to please step forward. His Excellency Hipólito Mejia, former President, Dominican Republic. I request you, sir, to please step forward and address the gathering. And yes, ladies and gentlemen, we still have many speakers on, and we'll also be looking forward to the vote of thanks.
Thank you.
Yes, my dear friends, ladies, settle down, be seated. We have our distinguished speakers who will be talking to us. We have 5 more international leaders speaking to us, and we also will be witnessing the closing remarks by TPCC President Shri Mahesh Garu. So I request you to please remain seated. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, delegates, I request you to please remain seated. We are continuing with our international leaders delivering their speeches, and we also have the closing remarks to be said by TPCC President Shri Mahesh Garu. So I request you to please remain seated. I request His Excellency Hipólito Mejia, former President, Dominican Republic, to kindly please address the gathering. Okay. Sir, will you give?
So thanks. What are just you
Yes, I now request our Minister, Shri Uttam Kumar Reddy Garu, to kindly please propose the vote of thanks.